welcome to our new edition of Vow. I'm your host, as always, King Quincy. Glad you can join us here on Vow. Thank you all once again for joining us here on Vow this week as we talk about stimulus package aimed from the coronavirus. Many Americans are suffering and trying to recover during this difficult, turbulent time. Thank you all once again for watching. Joining the conversation using the hashtag Vow here. Thank you once again. And use the hashtag Vow joining the conversation. Don't forget to subscribe. Subscribe once again. Tell a friend, call a friend, subscribe. Alright, let's get to it. Many Americans are suffering on the verge of their paying their bills, putting food on the table, and pay for themselves and their families. President Trump and Secretary of Treasury Stephen Mnuchin want to relieve Americans with some extra money in their pocket and help boost the U.S. economy with this. Let's take it back and let's read this. Yes.
Authorized me to announce this program. I have previously announced we would defer $200 billion. The president suggested we increase that to $300 billion, which we will be doing. Now, let me just be clear on the specifics. We encourage those Americans who can file their taxes to continue to file their taxes on April 15th, because for many Americans, you will get tax refunds, and we don't want you to lose out on those tax refunds. We want you to make sure you get them. Many people do this electronically, which is easy for them and easy for the IRS. If you owe a payment to the IRS, you can defer up to $1 million as an individual. And the reason why we're doing $1 million is that covers lots of pass-throughs and small businesses, and $10 million to corporations, interest-free and penalty-free for 90 days.
When you say a stimulus package for American workers, do you mean direct payments to Americans, or are you talking about a payroll tax holiday?
Although the president likes the idea of the payroll tax holiday, I will tell you what we've heard from many people, and the president has said we can consider this. The payroll tax holiday would get people money over the next 6 to 8 months. We're looking at sending checks to Americans immediately. And what we've heard from hardworking Americans, many companies have now shut down, whether it's bars or restaurants. Americans need cash now, and the president wants to get cash now. And I mean now, in the next 2 weeks.
The Senate unanimously passed the largest economic rescue package in American history. Just hours before, we're expected to see the largest rise in weekly unemployment claims in American history. Economists expect that number to reach the millions for the first time ever. And our chief economic correspondent, Rebecca Jarvis, is tracking it all. Good morning, Rebecca.
Good morning, George. And it is a stimulus package urgently needed across the country. To put this all in perspective, if the number of Americans who filed for unemployment insurance last week hits the 3.4 million mark, as many predict, it will be the largest number on record and the equivalent of the entire city of Chicago being out of work.
It's good news for the doctors and nurses and emergency.
The bill is passed.
A $2 trillion stimulus package, including $250 billion in checks going directly to families struggling under the weight of soaring layoffs and statewide lockdowns.
It's honestly been a disaster. Both of us have lost our jobs.
2 weeks ago, Jamie Gable was a physician's assistant. His wife, Christina, a hairdresser in New York. They were gainfully employed before both their jobs vanished.
Now we're scrambling to figure out how we can pay our bills.
We have 2 children, one with an adult with a mental disability. He has autism. And just what's happening for him is all of his programs shut down.
And it's happening across the country.
How am I going to make rent? How, bills, student loans.
Just the 9 days before this shutdown happened, we made about $32,000. That's kind of our norm in that stretch to zero.
Are we going to be able to afford to buy food? Are we going to be able to pay our rent at the end of the month?
Amidst the uncertainty, 2 of the top trending questions on Google: who will get that stimulus money and when? Those making $75,000 or less will receive $1,200. Married couples who make up to $150,000 getting $2,400 and $500 for each child. Those checks heading out as early as April 6th. If you filed your taxes electronically, the stimulus payout will likely get to you faster via direct deposit.
Many Americans are working from paycheck to paycheck and have to do stuff to make ends meet. You go to our local news outlets and how many Americans are dealing with the struggle to make it.
Hey guys, I'm Carolina Sanchez, and welcome to The Break at Home Edition. Yeah, it's business up top, quarantine on bottom. Obviously, coronavirus is a global pandemic that's affecting basically everyone. The US and Italy have already surpassed China in the number of positive cases, and this isn't just affecting people's health, it's also affecting their pockets. So what many people in the US are concerned about? Money. President Trump has signed a $2 trillion stimulus package. What the heck does that mean for you and me? Let me break it down. All right, so who is eligible? According to the bill, everyone except for non-legal U.S. residents, and also those who can be used as deductions for another person, which are typically dependents like your children. If you have a child, you're getting $500 per child, but here's the thing, your child has to be 16 years old or younger. It doesn't matter if you claim a college student as a dependent. But the biggest question is, how much money are we talking? Well, if you're an individual who makes $75,000 or less, you qualify for $1,200. So what happens if you're an individual who makes more than $75,000 but less than $99,000? Well, according to the bill, it's reduced by 5% for every dollar above the $75,000 mark. So for every $1,000, you'll make $50 less. Someone who makes $85,000, they'll get a $700 check. And if you make more than $99,000, you're looking at nada. What if you're a couple who files jointly with your partner? Well, if you make less than $150,000 a year, you qualify for a $2,400 check. And that 5% decrease also applies to couples who make more than $150,000, but less than $198,000. And now you're wondering, what about our seniors? What about our veterans, low-income Americans, or people who collect Social Security or unemployment? They qualify too. Now, what if you didn't file your taxes in 2018 or 2019? Well, you better freaking file your taxes, at least the ones for 2018 if you think you qualify. Otherwise, you're gonna lose out on this money. Now you're wondering about people who receive Social Security who don't file taxes. You are still eligible, as I said before, but the Treasury is going to be basing your eligibility and refund on your Social Security benefit statement. Is there anything that would keep you from getting a check? Yes. And it's not if you owe student loans or you're back paying on that, or if you owe taxes. It's if you owe child support. If you haven't paid your baby daddy or your baby mama, too bad, so sad. You're either getting a reduced check or no check at all. So do you have to apply? No, you don't have to apply. The Treasury Department is going to figure that out. So if you qualify, will you be receiving direct deposit or a check? Well, if you authorize the IRS to give you direct deposit in the past, well, you'll probably get it that way. Either way, after payment, within 15 days, the IRS will be sending out a letter to you to let you know how much you received and how you received it. And if you didn't receive anything and you think you should have, they're going to have a phone number you can call to let them know, hey, where's my money at? Now, for the people who are unemployed, are you going to be getting any extra money? Yes, you're getting $600 more on top of your state benefits as they stand, at least for the next 4 months, which I know is a huge relief for so many people as our unemployment numbers have skyrocketed throughout the country. So, when the heck is this money coming in? Well, according to the Treasury Department, within the next 3 weeks. So that would be about mid-April. But according to the legislation, they have until the end of the year. So basically, the majority of Americans are getting some sort of money. And that is awesome. For now, I'm going to go change into my PJs and make the most of this quarantine life. I've made a lot of meals, I've built a lot of furniture, and I don't know what to do now. But I am washing my hands, I am disinfecting things, and I am leaving only for essential things, which is basically nothing at this point. What are you guys doing? Let me know what shows to watch, what puzzles to do, what books to read, because Lord, we all know we need some sort of entertainment. Hopefully I educated you and entertained you in these few minutes. Stay safe and stay healthy. Bye.
Who gets what and how much? Wake News reporter Danielle Garcia digs deeper to find out.
Lots of you have been blowing up our phones, emailing, and Facebook messaging us with questions about the stimulus package. Now, here are some of the most common ones that we've gotten. How much will I get? Well, it depends on the last tax return you filed. If you haven't filed your 2019 tax return, it'll be based off of your 2018 return. So let's just say you make less than $75,000 a year, and then you're eligible for $1,200 a check. Now that's a one-time payment. Now, if you're a couple and you make a joint tax return and you make less than $150,000 a year, then you'd be eligible for a $2,400 check plus $500 a child. So when is the money coming in? Well, the Treasury Secretary says that they could be seeing these checks within the next 3 weeks for those with whom the IRS has direct deposit information. If not, it could be months before you see that check. So what if I'm on Social Security or don't make enough to file taxes? The answer is also yes. Even if you didn't file a tax return in 2018, 2019, or have enough money to file taxes, the Social Security Administration, it's based off of the 1099 that they send you every year. So that includes retirement and disability. So what if I owe back taxes? Will the IRS take my check? The bill does not exclude you from getting a check.
Hours of reading through the bill. It is 880 pages. And talking with lawmakers in the know, like Representative Steve Cohen of Memphis, I discovered a number of things that should answer your questions.
Based upon your most recent tax return, here's a quick look at the formula. If you're married and together make less than $150,000, you and your spouse would get up to $2,400. The checks get smaller as your income gets larger. Anyone who's single making less than $75,000 gets a check for $1,200. Again, those who make more get less.
As my understanding, those checks of $1,200 per person for people with incomes under $75,000 a year, $2,400 for a couple, and an additional $500 per child will start being direct deposited this week.
So if you're still a little confused, there are numerous online calculators like this one at the Washington Post that add up what you'll be getting. So let's just randomly do a little bit of math here. Question, have you filed your 2019 tax? So yes. What's your filing status? We'll say at this point you're single, no children, and last year you earned, let's just say $83,000. Calculate, and your stimulus payment is $800. All right, let's try again. If you're married with 2 kids and together you earn $165,000, your stimulus check would be $2,650.
If you don't have direct deposit, you'll get a check in the mail, but it could take weeks. Many parents with children 16 and younger could also see additional relief, but again, there are income restrictions.
Overnight, the Senate unanimously passing that $2 trillion stimulus bill meant to help the economy recover from the COVID-19 outbreak.
On this vote, the yeas are 96, the nays are 0. The 60 vote threshold having been achieved, the bill is passed.
As part of that bill, the government will send people earning $75,000 or less a $1,200 check plus $500 per child. Those earning up to $99,000 a year will get a smaller check. Checks will go out on April 6th. It could take 4 or 5 weeks to reach those who will get it by mail. Those that get direct deposit could get it sooner. There's also money in the bill to help states and hospitals. As President Trump says he'd like to reopen the country by Easter, the top doctor on his coronavirus task force with this warning on CNN.
And you've got to understand that you don't make the timeline. The virus makes the timeline.
Dr. Anthony Fauci also warning the virus could come back in seasonal cycles as it now spreads to countries in the southern hemisphere going into their winter season.
If, in fact, they have a substantial outbreak, it will be inevitable that we need to be prepared that we'll get a cycle around the second time.
But there is one sliver of hope. Extreme social distancing measures may be working, the rate of hospitalization slowing slightly in New York City.
This is a very good sign and a positive sign. Again, I'm not 100% sure it holds.
A lot of Americans are dealing with the effects of struggling to make it. It's just that coming to a time of uncertainty, in terms of time as well. But we all pull together, we can all win this together. All right, let's move on to our segment called What the People Say. As people are waiting for those stimulus checks to plug in the economy and get the economy back moving again. While others think differently. Take a look.
I'm talking directly to Louisiana constituents. How long are you going to follow people who taking your tax money, not theirs, your tax money, and putting it in a $500 million slush fund to give away as they see please, but they cannot give you enough money to feed your family. Can't give you your money when you need it. You don't need it that often. Very rarely you need it. But when you need it, that's why we have a central government. But we have representatives who are in a club that represents that club. They use you and me to get elected. And then they're in a club. How is it that we sit by the side and don't go and vote the same individuals in who take your money out of your wallet and give it to someone else and tell you, I'll give you a loan on your money, but I'll give your money to the wealthy corporations. But let's look at the fact. How did this country get built? There were no corporations. There were no big conglomerates. It was built from your labor and your tax money. How is it now that the banks and the large corporations is more important than you who built it and your ancestors? They built this off the backs of immigrants and slaves. They built this company off of that, this whole country. But the question you got to look in the mirror and ask yourself, why do you keep tolerating them taking your money and giving it to them and charging you for it or not giving you anything at all? They cut your Medicaid, they cut your Medicare, they cut your Social Security, they cut your paycheck, they cut your union pay. And you tolerate that while they take your money that you pay and give it to some of our enemies like Saudi Arabia and the Russians and different countries that we give your tax money from. Our tax money, excuse me. They give our money to foreign nations who give us nothing and charge you and give you a loan. And they take their corporations after we've given them the money to build it and put them overseas so they benefit other societies other than our children. And they charge our children with astronomical education fees. Our children, with our tax money, are paying while we give it to other nations who are hostile to us. My question is not to the politician who's doing this. My question is to you. I just want you to think about it. Think about it deeply and ask yourself, what are you to allow them to do this to your children and grandchildren? Thank you.
More now on the $2 trillion economic bill and what it means for American businesses. Mark Cuban, investor and owner of the Dallas Mavericks, joins us now. Sir, thanks for joining us. Really appreciate it. Do you think that the $2 trillion is going to be enough and that the way it's structured will get money to the people who really need it?
I don't know, but I do know that it's going to take too long to get into their hands. Right now, they're saying 3 weeks, and that's just not going to work. I mean, we need to get something in people's hands now and make whatever adjustments and processes that we need to get it there.
So one of those things that they're saying is that they would get, there's money, and it might take too long, but money directly to people, but also these small business loans that I don't think we should call them loans, really, because as Dagan McDowell explained earlier, it's a forgivable loan, which makes it a grant. And so I think the language matters to people. If you're a small business owner, right? You know small business owners very well. They operate on pretty slim margins, and they need to know that they're not going to be penalized from taking advantage of it.
Yeah, I've been telling all my Shark Tank companies, under 500 employees, as long as you retain all your employees and don't fire anybody, when this is all done in 2 months, you don't have to pay it back. So definitely apply. Now, the challenge is, where do you apply? And what we're telling people is, go to your banker, go to the bank you already have an account with, tell them that you qualify and that you want to get the process started immediately, because all the legislation hasn't been finalized yet. But by starting the process now, you'll be ahead of the game.
What are your thoughts about how to reopen the economy, when to reopen the economy? I know, you're a business owner yourself. What are you thinking?
Safety first. You can't jeopardize the safety of your employees. I mean, look, the way companies make decisions about how they treat their employees and stakeholders is going to define their brand for the next decade. So even though on one hand you want to try to get back to work, you want the country to get back to work, if something should go wrong and the virus should come back and hit your company, you're ruined, right? If it should extend to your customers, you're ruined. So you have to put safety first. And I'm not an expert in this, but I'm going to try to do my best to listen to the experts in making those decisions.
That's your song, baby. You like that song? No, that's not the one. You like Shape of You by him. That's Ed Sheeran. That's not the one you like.
Oh, I like this one too.
You do? It is about 12:46 p.m. in Texas. I just thought I'd come out here and just say something. Again, I will still vote for Donald John Trump. I will absolutely still vote for him. This is not Trump's fault. Okay? It just amazes me how Democrats claim to be for Americans, but yet, whenever it is time to show up and show out in support of Americans, and I'm talking American citizens, they always abandon us for other people. Again, I am an immigrant myself, but that does not justify the reason why Democrats sold Americans out. Okay? They blackmail our children for generations to come, our grandchildren for generations to come. We got to understand, I wasn't very happy with the Republican stimulus package, not 100%. However, their package was a lot better than what the Democrat did with the stimulus package that the president was basically forced to sign, because, again, he loves America and he wants Americans to go back to their lives. He wants Americans to go back to working. Like, I want to go back to work. I've been home since Tuesday and I'm bored, okay? I don't like being home, so I have to sit home now. But here's the deal. When you take $2.5 trillion, it divided by 350 million Americans. Yo, I'm here eating junk food. So, when you take that and you divide that by the amount of people we have in America, legally, American citizens, that equals to about $13,000 a person. Okay? $13,000 a person. What did Democrat do? The president's goal and idea was to have this entire package center around Americans, okay, American citizens, the businesses and stuff to bring us back. Yes, we have to help our business communities. We have to help small businesses. We've got to help big corporations. These are the business providers of America. These are the employers of America. and Americans. But Democrats were very much concerned about putting their agendas into the bill that should have been there for Americans in our time of need. Now here we are, $2.5 trillion. Oh, I make it $1,200 and that's going to help me maybe 2 months. When we could have gotten about $13,000 a piece. $13,000 a piece. And now you have the State Department actually bringing international workers when Americans are unemployed into America. Why are we bringing international workers when Americans are told to sit on their behinds at home? I get it. When America gets back on her feet, we will need people. I understand it, but why don't we wait to cross that bridge as we get to that bridge? Why are we making plans right now to cross Bridge B when we haven't even crossed Bridge A? Why are we bringing international workers to America? Why are we issuing the work visas when Americans are sitting home? Okay, we are literally getting $1,200 if you're lucky. When we are stuck with the bill of $2.5 trillion. This is not something any American should be happy about. We should not be proud of this at all. Okay? We should not be proud of this at all. We should be angry. Now you can be good angry. Okay? You need to talk to people as to why we need to vote and vote the right people into government. $2.5 trillion. That is a T. Okay? That is a capital T. We are stuck with. We could have got $13,000 per person. But Democrats were like, nope, we don't care. Nope. What we need to do is give people unemployment long term so they don't have to go back to work because we need those international workers. You know, there are companies in America that actually pay to bring people here to fire Americans. Yes, we bring people from overseas to take American jobs while we make American people unemployed and then keep them on the welfare system. That's not a government that cares about her people. That's not a government that really wants the good of American citizens. Okay? I remember Parkland Hospital a couple of years ago, just as they got on building a brand new Parkland Hospital, okay, after the taxpayers, because it's a government hospital, remember, it's owned by the state. So the taxpayers are the ones that had to build them out. You know what they did? They brought Chinese nurses, Asian nurses in general, and they lay off American nurses. This is what we're dealing with. They tell us to go to school so that we can have a better life. You spend $250,000 to get your education, and when you get out, you have no employment because guess what? It is easier and cheaper for companies to hire international workers than to hire you an American. But then you're stuck with student loans. And then people in government tell us, well, student loans is a problem right now. These are the same people that tell us if you don't have a good education, you're not educated. Okay? These are the same people that worked and cut our trade deals. Okay? Vocational school and things like that. But remember though, Americans could have got $13,000 a piece. Had we had the $2.5 trillion tailored just for Americans instead of international refugees, $350 million, okay? The art center, okay? The post office, and all the list goes on. We should be angry as Americans because our government is selling us out right in front of our faces. They're not doing it in the dark. Thank you, Democrats. Thank you. You love America so very much that I can see how much you love me. You give me $1,200 while you give international refugees $350 million. You know where the money is going? Remember, I was a refugee. I lived in a refugee camp. We did not get the money. We had to work to pay for our rent and everything else. You know who got the money America sent via UN? via the United Nations people in certain positions. We did not get it. My mother and I did not get it. We should have got rice. We should have got beans. We should have got oil every month. We never did get it. You were lucky if you got something every 6 months. Where is the money going? I'll tell you where it's going. In people's personal bank accounts, in their pockets. Every American could have got $13,000 or so. But nope, they sold us out. And we should be very much unhappy with this year. 100%. Y'all stay blessed, keep on praying. We need God. We need to vote the right people into government. So should we have this issue again? They would think about America first and American first before international people. Every individual belongs to a country. Those countries are responsible for her people. Like America is responsible for Americans.
As you can see, others are thinking differently. They think the money is not going to be used properly. Many people are saying that this is a pandemic, that we can still do what we have to do and justify our needs. So let's hope and pray that everything goes well and well throughout this turbulent time. Well, one thing is we have to see how everything goes on this unfortunate time. All right. I've been your host, Ken Hicks, saying so long. As you watch Power, spend this check, where's the money? We hope so long. See you next time for another edition.